Hey everybody, it's Jason with Modeling Pros, and I want to show you the next step on this Trumpeter 1/48 scale P-40 Warhawk. I have noted in the previous video that I've painted the fuselage and the wings, top and bottom, and have covered them in a clear coat of Johnson's floor wax. The next step is to paint the insides of these flap areas, which will include the bottoms of these flaps that mount on there, with this Vallejo acrylic here. I've never used Vallejo before, as I've said in previous videos, so I'm kind of looking forward to this, kind of excited to see what I think of it. One thing I already am pretty sure I know about Vallejo, yes, the tops, whoop, there it goes, it's already making a mess. I'm just going to put that back on and clean it up in a minute. The tops of them are dropper tops, so it's going to make it really easy for putting that paint into the airbrush, so I'm excited about that. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off the areas that I'm going to be painting so I don't accidentally get any of the Vallejo paint on parts of the plane that I do not want. Now you can see here I've already masked off one side, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off the other side and let you see how I go about that. So what I'm using here is just some painter's tape. You can use certainly some Tamiya masking tape, which is excellent stuff, but for this job I'm just going to use some regular old painter's tape. I'm going to try to not go off camera here if I can avoid it. Alright, you want to have yourself some good scissors because you want to be able to cut nice straight lines here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a section there like that, and then I'm going to put it on the back of my hand a couple times. Now, why am I doing that? Well, I have already sprayed this, as I said, with the Johnson's floor wax, so I'm not too worried about the tape damaging any of the paintwork or anything of that nature. But what I want to do is I just want to be sure. I want to be sure that I don't damage any of the work that I've already done. So if I run that across my hand a couple of times, I just decrease a bit how sticky it is. And that way when I do go to pull it off, I'm not as likely, it will not have stuck on there as much, and so it's not as likely to pull off anything, any of the work that I've already done. So I'm just going to do this real quickly and kind of let you see what I'm doing here. Okay, so again we're just going to de-sticky this a little bit, and if that doesn't hurt, but I do have a little hair on my hands. I guess if you have a problem with that, you might want to find something else to de-sticky it on besides the back of your hand. But for me, it doesn't seem to be very painful. Alright, and you can see here, all I'm really doing is kind of creating a skirt around this. I don't need to tape off every last bit of the bottom of the plane, because with the airbrush I can be pretty precise, and I don't have to really worry too much about spraying like way over here or up here or anything like that. That's not likely to happen with the airbrush. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just folding this really fine, and there's just a really tight spot here that I got to get the tape down on. So one of the things that I like to do, and that I recommend you do, is have some kind, I didn't fold that enough, I'm just folding a tiny little flap there, tiny little flap, tiny little flap, to go right on there. And as I was saying, sorry, this is not, this is giving me fits, and I know you can't see it because of my hands. There we go. One of the things that I recommend you do is have some kind of instrument like this toothpick kind of a deal to press this down into those really fine areas that you want to get it. Okay. Now if you look here, I've got these areas here that are really not matching up too well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take another piece of tape. I won't have to run it on my hand because it's not going to touch the model at all. And just kind of put it on there just to kind of complete the corner of the skirt, if you will, so that there's not a gap in it. And I can just leave that sticking up like that in the corner. Can you see how that's not flat? That's kind of sticking up to create that skirt. That's what I want. That's going to protect the rest of the plane as I'm airbrushing. Okay, another piece here. I'm going to lay right across there like that. Get that pushed down real good there. Now here, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, there's a little area right there that sticks up and it's got cut corners. And that is not supposed to be painted this lighter color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a piece of tape that's just about the same width as that little area. And I'm going to cut the corners on it just a little bit, like that, to kind of shape it right there so that it's the same shape as that little area that it's going to be going on to. It's not perfect, and you could certainly invest the time in making it perfect. In fact, actually I butchered it pretty badly. I'm going to have to cut another little piece of tape there. Actually, I've got some extra here. You could certainly invest the time in measuring it all out and cutting it perfect, but what I prefer to do is just cut another little piece of tape if it's not perfect. No big deal. Alright. There we go. And then I had this other piece earlier that I cut off because this back rim right along here stays the neutral gray color. So I'm just going to lay this on here, run it up over to there, and voila, I have made myself a nice painting skirt to protect everything around what I want to paint. So I'm going to go apply this Vallejo paint to this area and to the bottoms of the flaps that will ultimately mount onto there. And then when you guys see the plane again, that should be done. Thanks for watching.